Shane, Shane, Shane. Shane, 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 Shane. A-L-A-N, Allen. A-L-A-N, Allen. Allen, 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 Allen.
According to a new survey by the Women's Vote Project, women would be more likely to vote if they could send in ballots by mail or if polls were open longer. Also, more women would vote if you were permitted to bake your vote. They like to bake.
Hi guys, Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime, and it makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country, and you don't want that.
I can't get Hinchcliffe off the brain, dude.
Bro.
That's all I think about. All day. It makes me laugh.
It's the funniest thing ever.
It's the funniest thing that's happened.
If Trump loses, it's the ultimate.
And it is Tony's fault. And because of that, World War III does take place. Tony Hinchcliffe is Archduke Franz Ferdinand. He is. People are going to look back and go, why did this happen?
Dude, I'm going to be holding my whole family and I'm going to see the blast radius before we go out in a hot flash. I'm going to go, an island of garbage?
You can see the blast radius and you're going to go, unbelievable. Just go into dust, dude.
Yeah, the argument's online about that. I'm going to be holding my kids and be like, actually, it was kind of bullshit. It actually kind of crushed it.
It actually was funny.
It's hard to do that around.
Yeah, it was 11 a.m., dude. That was pretty tough. He was probably nervous and just went back to material. Who cares?
Hey, episode 37 of the 38th Parallel. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the end times, depending on who you are going to vote for. We have everyone's favorite sweetheart, Kamala Harris, and we have everybody's favorite bully, Donald Trump, and the old skinny white lady, Jill Stein. I can't even say her name right. She's out there running for the 10th time. And the gay guy, Chase Oliver. I was trying to be nice. About Chase, but he's also running. So yeah, it's getting closer and closer. And I don't know. I think the world's going to end. What do you think, Alan?
Wait, so hold on a second. So you said the gay guy, and then you said, sorry, I was trying to be nice. So you're saying that it was mean to say that he's gay, which he is?
Yeah, it's very
mean. That's mean?
It's very
But he
mean,
is gay.
Yeah.
So to call
someone
gay is mean. Okay.
I wanted to say some other things, but, you know.
Faggot? Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to say faggot.
Okay.
I wanted to say bundle of sticks.
Yeah.
The butt
I don't have my... Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while. I mean, yeah, but only two of those people matter, which is, of course, Donald Trump and Jill Stein. Because those are the people that are taking the votes from Kamala Harris. It's Donald Trump and Jill Stein. It's funny. I just happened to see right before we started there's some people on social media that were yelling at Jill Stein supporters because, you know, these Jill Stein people are like, here's my ballot. Look at me. I voted for Jill Stein, you know. Mm-hmm. And then the Kamala people are like, she should just drop out. She should drop out. You know, you got to vote for Kamala. This is a close election. Jill Stein should drop out. And they're like, wait, hold on a second. Do you think that the people who are voting for Jill Stein would vote for Kamala Harris if it weren't for Jill Stein? Because the Jill Stein people are really heavy on the no war in the Middle East, no support for Israel, stop the genocide in Gaza. Like, that's a really big piece of the puzzle for the Jill Stein people. And that's one of the biggest issues that has hurt Kamala down the stretch, is not being resolutely pro-Palestine, anti-Israel. She's lost the Muslim vote and the anti-war hippie type vote. Those people are voting for Jill Stein. So just because the point being is that if they weren't voting for Jill Stein, that doesn't mean that they would be voting for Kamala. It probably just means they wouldn't vote, or they would write in somebody. So it's just, there's a certain level of hubris in any candidate assuming that, well, my candidate would of course be your second choice, so you need to remove that other one and then vote for me. Isn't that like, there's a certain level, I don't know, there's a certain level of hubris to that.
Well, the interesting thing that you mentioned, talking about the Muslim people, or just the people who are going to vote for Jill Stein, because the wars in the Middle East are their number one issue. So I saw this one poll, and I know like polls are whatever, you know, take them however you want. But there was this one poll.
Kamala Harris will take a poll however you want, but yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, from CAIR, and I'm thinking it was taken between the October 30th and 31st. So it was a really short amount of days there. But the amount of Muslim voters who are going to vote for Jill Stein was 42.3%. Harris was 41%. Trump was 9.8%, and not voting was 5.4%. So again, I know that's a really small sample size, but to your point, this is the only poll that I've seen where Jill Stein or anyone other than Trump and Harris is winning or won that poll. I mean, obviously that's not going to like winner the election, but it is a pretty interesting thing to look at. Like, oh fuck, Jill Stein got 42.3% of the Muslim voters in this particular poll. Yeah, and Kamala Harris is not good on the. She doesn't even know probably don't even know where the fuck Kazakhstan is or whatever.
Yeah, I think the Muslim vote is like. Yeah, I don't want us to get like too hung up on this, but I've written about it before. Like the Muslim vote is only like 1.4 only like 1.4% of the U.S. population identifies as Muslim, because. Right. I mean, this is a Christian nation. I know that really triggers like the lefties and the atheists, but this is a Christian nation. I mean, it's like 94% of Americans identify as Christian. I think it may be higher than that. So, because if you think like, when you think demographics, a lot of people talk about like, oh, replacement theory, you know, look at all these different minority groups. Look at the Hispanic population growing, you know, because of the open border. But all those people are also Christian. It's like all the Mexicans and the Central Americans, they're all Catholics.
Oh yeah.
They're all conservative Christians, right? They're all culturally conservative Christian people. So the Muslim vote is a very small portion of the vote. However, Kamala's not doing well in that regard, because I mean, she's spit in the face. I mean, the Democratic Party is spit in the face in those people who had been reliable. Yeah, she would like that too. That have been reliable voters in the past. And also Trump, more importantly, Trump is winning the Latino vote, which again, as we were just describing, that actually is a much larger chunk of votes than like the Muslim vote, and he's winning. And I don't mean he's winning amongst Latino men. He's winning amongst Latinos, period, overall. Women overwhelmingly vote left because they're retarded and shouldn't be allowed to vote. But Latinos overall are voting for Trump, which that's crazy. Like if I had said to you, like, you think of Republican candidates over the last 20 years, you know, think of like Mitt Romney, John McCain,
or our boy Mike Pence,
you know, George W. Bush. Go further back to like Bob Dole. Could you imagine? Is there any alternate reality you can think of where any of Bob Dole, Mitt Romney, John McCain, like win the Latino vote? It would be unfathomable. to think of.
Yeah.
And yet, Trump is. What I wonder.
Well,
what does that mean? Does that mean Trump is really attractive to Latinos, or does that mean Latinos as a voting group have decided, wow, the Democrats suck dick. We're done with them. Which do you think is more true? That they like Trump or that they're tired of Democrats?
Well, I'm surprised that they wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris if it sucks dick so much.
They're into some freaky stuff, man. They're not. You gotta, If I had said sucks ass, then
well, I mean,
I feel like
the Democrat Party is the donkey. So, yeah, yeah.
I feel like you're getting a little distracted here. I'm trying to talk about hard data, and then all of a sudden, hard, yeah. Oh my God. Well, who are the Asians voting for?
I don't know.
All 17 of you guys. Who are y'all voting for?
Not Andrew Yang. Fuck that guy. He keeps saying,
Jesus. Nobody gives a fuck about Andrew Yang, dude.
He said, did you know that Joe Biden didn't call Donald Trump supporters garbage? Even this video of him actually saying it, you chinky asshole.
Wow.
Even before all this, when he first went into public office or public interest, fuck you, man. Oh, I'm part of the Yang gang.
I hope that if you get deplatformed, I hope that the straw that broke the camel's back is you saying Chinky. Like that's just there's a certain level of irony that would be the step too far for you. And
we call Chase Oliver a faggot, but I say Chinky about Andrew Yang.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of an inside joke on It's Too Late where there was a long series of episodes, maybe about a year ago now, where I said and promoted some pretty risque stuff, and all of those episodes are still live right now on every platform. Haven't even been flagged. There's not even a little community notes at the bottom. Damn. But I've had live viewers literally watching the episode type what they saw and then they get insta-banned.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Still standing.
I'm thinking of one in my head. There's a guy named Ryan, and I love Ryan. He's a cool guy. He's come to our live events. Ryan literally was watching the show. And we said a thing, and then he just typed in "lol." Alan said thing, and then couldn't type anymore. And then he refreshed, and he just got a 72-hour ban for hate speech or whatever. So I was like, how he was just don't do as I say or as I do. Just don't do anything. Just watch the show. Just don't.
Shut your mouth.
This is just I'm just affecting a character on TV. None of this is real.
Yeah, you're playing a character, right?
Yeah. It's not affecting a character. It's just yeah.
Well, so you were talking about the Latino vote and how Donald Trump is killing it. Mm-hmm. For a Republican, he's killing it. To get the Latino vote, the black vote, probably the Asian vote. I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers.
He's not going to win the black vote because, of course, black women are they're Haitian level is what we're talking. But black men are voting for Trump. So if only black men got to vote, Trump would win in a landslide.
Not Stephen A. Smith.
If all blacks voted, it's because again women are so overwhelmingly voting left wing. That even if Trump is winning amongst black men, black women skew it so far to the left that blacks are still voting. Blacks are still voting left wing, 3-1. But amongst men, he would have a lead. But amongst all Latinos, men and women combined, he has a lead. Which both of those are still something. I mean, again, you remember, wasn't it Kanye West who was doing that United Way benefit thing for the tsunami or something back in 2006, and he goes, George Bush hates black people. Remember that?
Yeah, Mike Myers was saying right next to him.
Yeah, that was back when Kanye was only like a little nutty. You know, he wasn't the Kanye that we know today. That was
We know
like,
and love, yeah.
yeah. And like so, but the point being is, I wonder what Kanye would say about who he was 20 years ago. Like, does he look back at some of those things and think, I was just beginning my journey, or I was just being an idiot, or if he genuinely believes all the bullshit he said? I don't know. But the point being is he wasn't he said it at a really dumb time, and that's why it was frowned upon, because it wasn't appropriate. But there was certainly a lot of media and celebrity people who were saying like, oh yeah, George Bush, he's racist. Like Trump didn't invent the wheel with this, right? Like they've been saying every Republican leader is racist or sexist or whatever for a long, long time. So, I mean, I remember them always saying George Bush was racist. Now, you couldn't actually point to one policy where you would say, oh, yes, you know, he said this thing, so he's racist, and, you know, or this policy hurts, you know, black people. They could never do that. They just said he was racist. And so, again, fast forward to today, like if I went back in a time machine to then, right, Kanye just said George Bush hates black people and it's a big national controversy. If I had told you then, hey, in 20 years there's going to be a Republican candidate who's going to get the majority of the votes amongst black men, you'd been like, how is that possible? Like, is it like, you know, like what's the series of events that would lead to that? And the answer would end up being, because in my mind, if you were to say, Alan, I want you to run a Republican who wins amongst black men, how do you do it? I would say you just get a Democrat to run as a Republican, which they kind of did. Or you get a Democrat party that's doing so poorly and nominates such a shitty candidate that is so condescending, and just the sheer amount of hubris that they would have, that they just assume your vote belongs to us. We own you. You're slaves. We own you. Your vote belongs to us. Stay on the plantation. And so if you had the perfect storm of a New York City boomer liberal running as a Republican, plus a Democratic candidate who talks to black people like they're toddlers, then maybe they would vote right wing. And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I showed it to you. I don't know if it was last episode or two or whenever, but your favorite sports commentator, Stephen A. Smith, was even being like, "Hey, Barack Obama, hey, come on, don't be talking to us black men like this." Like basically saying nicely, "Hey, fuck you. If I'm gonna vote for who you want me to vote for, I'll just do it. You don't have to fucking talk down to me like I'm some low IQ asshole." You know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, black men, or at least a lot of them are, they're definitely going towards the Republican side. Charlemagne the God, though, he ain't. I mean, he thinks he's bigger than Joe Rogan. So, you know.
Yeah, sure. Well, now here we are. We're doing this Friday night. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So in 4 days.
Yeah.
So in 4 days, it's going to be, 9:30 Central Time on Tuesday night, which is probably going to be around the time that a lot of states are going to be called. You know how it is. Some of the swing states where the vote is close, it'll be too close to call. So everyone's going to be sitting around their TVs waiting for those too close to call races to come in, wondering, man, are they going to call this thing before I have to go to bed because I got to go to work tomorrow? Yeah. That kind of stuff. I don't know. I will say, if we were going to make a short series of predictions, I do predict that we will not know. They will not call the race by this time 4 days from now. And now that's not to say that they won't call the race by the end of like election coverage Tuesday night, but I don't think they will have called the race by now. So it's like 9:21 Central Time, so it's almost 10:30 Eastern Time. I don't think the race will be called yet. I think a lot of states will be called. I think that there will be a handful of swing states that they will be saying are too close to call, which means because they're major swing states, that means the whole election won't have been called yet. Which is, of course, that's going to then breed a whole bunch of conspiracy, right? It's that even if I was making this argument the other day, is that even if there's totally no cheating and everything's above board and there's nothing shadowy going on behind the scenes, people will still think there is if they can't just tally the fucking votes and get the results out in a timely manner. The longer it takes, the more people are going to be like, I wonder what's going on down there, you know. So my first prediction is we still won't know who won the race by this time Tuesday night.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think when Trump won in 2016 or whatever,
Yeah,
it wasn't immediate, but I think it was around 11, almost midnight around that time is when they actually called it.
It was. I think they took a little bit. They took longer than they needed to call it, but it was obvious he had won. And the only reason they hadn't called it is because the media is completely controlled by left wingers.
They couldn't believe it all.
Yeah, they're. Well, the thing is, see, that's another thing too, because this is one of the beautiful things about being a historian and studying history, is a lot of times there will be a narrative that kind of springs out from the moment, and people will just repeat it without actually evaluating it. It's true that a lot of polls and a lot of left-wing media said Hillary Clinton was going to win in a landslide. Mm-hmm. But I don't care what left-wing media says. What were the actual signs on the street? And the signs on the street were Donald Trump was heavily overperforming their expectations. And it was also true, like, people were already criticizing Hillary for having sort of taken her foot on the gas and not done a lot of really hard campaigning down the stretch. Wisconsin was the big one. Remember, Trump won Wisconsin, and that was one of the key swing states. And Hillary was like, oh, I'm up by 15 in Wisconsin. So she just quit campaigning there. She didn't even go to the state for like the last 6 months or something. Yeah. Trump was there like every other day saying, you know, hey guys, love cheese, go Packers, you know.
Yeah, right.
And whatever the fuck. Trump wouldn't do that because Trump, he doesn't strike me as someone who knows a fucking thing about football. But either way, he was the states that Trump was targeting as part of his actual campaign strategy, Hillary also neglected. And that resulted in, so like again, on election night, even if they waited until, say, another hour and a half later than it is now to call the race, it was over. Like, I remember sitting there in my living room at 9 o'clock being like, well, I can look at the map and I can look at the states they've already called, and I can look at the states where he's ahead by, like, you know, a full few percent with like only 1% left to tally. It's like he's already won. The race is over. Yeah. If they already know that they've counted 99% of the votes and he's ahead by 4, then mathematically it's over. He's already won the race. And again, and it was like, because I remember flipping channels and going back and forth between like CNN. They're like, here's Rachel Maddow, and here's, you know, Wolf Blitzer and Anderson Cooper, and they just keep on repeating themselves over and over again. They keep on looking at pulling up the same states on that big, you know, like jumbo screen thing, and they keep on looking at the numbers. Like, they keep on doing the math, thinking if I do the equation enough times, it'll pop back out that Hillary wins. Yeah, and it was almost kind of pathetic. And because I know that people have done like video montages since then of like a time lapse of seeing them coming to terms with the fact that Trump was going to win. But in my mind, in looking back in hindsight, it was pretty clear by like 8:30, 9 o'clock that night. Like, it's not like it wasn't a Trump's in this race. It's a Trump's already won. The race is over. Trump's going to win. It's just a matter of they're waiting for you guys to get off your ass and call it so we can go give our speeches and go to bed. And the only reason the speeches were as late as they were was because, A, Hillary didn't want to concede. Because she was... can you imagine being in the room with Hillary Clinton when it's like... Oh, my God.
Let's get a documentary of that. What was her reaction?
I wish. Because, yeah, it's one of those things where I bet that if she were to win, I'm sure they did have cameras rolling, because I'm sure they would have done a big documentary about, like, the first female president and all that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure somewhere in the ether there was some camera crews and documentary filmmakers somewhere who were putting together the, first Queen of America documentary, and all of that either got deleted or it got put into a library that'll never see the light of day because it turned out she didn't win. However, I will say this. Let me tell you the biggest reason why you should go vote for Trump. Because think about this. If Trump beat Hillary and then he beats Kamala, I think that he is now a repeat woman beater.
Boom. Roasted.
Yeah.
Love it.
So if you wanted a woman beater as president,
a white
now's
beater.
your chance. Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, he couldn't beat an old white guy, but he can beat them women. Whew.
I'm willing. See, that's the thing too, is that the reason why you'll never hear any left-wing comic make the joke that I made is because they will be insinuating that he couldn't beat a man but did beat women, which would insinuate that women are weaker and lesser than men. Yeah. And so they won't make that joke because even if it's funny on the one end, they'll be criticized on the other end. Whereas people who aren't left-wing shills would be perfectly content to make that joke. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Tuesday night just because I do think at this time that Trump is going to win. And if he does win, then I will absolutely be rolling out the two-time convicted woman beater title.
Hell yeah.
Donald Trump was the hero we needed to prevent a woman from becoming president.
Yeah, twice. Yeah, there you go. He's going to be this century's Grover Cleveland.
Yeah.
In terms
Except
of
for Grover.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Grover Cleveland was also like a good president, so that's one way that he's not like him.
Well, I'm just saying like non-consecutive terms.
Yeah.
Like when's that happened? Once before. That's it. So history repeats itself. There you go. But,
there's been people attempt it. It's just he was the only one that actually succeeded. But, a lot of people are saying that Michelle Obama is going to run in 2028 and that they actually wanted her to be the first female president and not Kamala. So they'll actually not be upset if Kamala loses because they want it to be Michelle. But Michelle has like a 12-inch dick. So I still don't think that counts as the first female president.
Yeah, especially since Hillary lost. So she was probably deemed as, okay, you're going to be the first woman president. Get ready. Get ready for this, girl. You got this. Like, go ahead and tweet that picture that everyone's seen now.
Happy birthday to the first female president of yeah. Holy shit.
And it's still up. So kudos, respect to her for keeping that up because she.
Well, that's because it's because A, she doesn't run her own Twitter, and B, the people who like did or they're also boomers or they lost the password or something.
Well, there was a clip of I think Donald Trump was watching a speech of Kamala's or whatever, and he was and it was some girl basically typing out what he was saying as a tweet or Truth Social or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of funny. It was literally just him being like, yeah, she's a disaster, she sucks, whatever he was saying, and he's just going, she's just like typing it up like 200 words a minute, and I'm just thinking, holy shit. It's every time I see a tweet of his that's probably some intern or whoever, he's talking, hey, repeat, basically copy everything I'm saying right now. Mark Cuban, what a dumb fuck. Like, Mark Cuban. Sorry, I have to read this. It's so funny. Where is it? Fuck. This is what we call good prep. Okay, Donald Trump. So I can just picture him telling this girl or whoever to type this out. Mark Cuban, a really dumb guy who thinks he's hot stuff, but he's absolutely nothing, is now out there saying that I don't surround myself with strong women. Actually, he is very wrong. I surround myself with the strongest of women, with the understanding that all women are great, whether strong or not strong. The guy is such a fool. He's constantly on television, which is capitalized, being critical, and only for the reason that I tuned him out completely while president because he called incessantly. I told him very poignantly, look, Mark, I've got a lot of things to do. I just can't be taking so many pointless calls from you. In any event, that affected him greatly because he's a very insecure guy and a major loser in all caps. Always has been and always will be. Nobody likes him. Nobody respects him. And he's unattractive both inside and out. He should go back to talk about the person he was forced to support because I didn't want it. Lion Kamala Harris. Also, he's got no club head speed, whatever the fuck that means. I may, in fact, be surrounded by the strongest women in the world, including heads of countries who make Mark look like a baby. Strong women and women in general should be very angry about this weak man statement. I mean, come on. Classic Donald Trump. He's back, calling out people, shitting on them. I love it. That's the Trump we should have had this whole time. Not that whatever that was in 2020 or like the first few months of his campaign during this election cycle. Where was that guy this whole time? Or that guy that was in the garbage truck and then like wearing that safety vest, basically saying, "Hey, this is my garbage truck, and I'm gonna go take out the trash that is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden." Like, I want that guy. The guy that makes me laugh. That's what I'm saying. I want the guy that makes me laugh and makes me feel good for a few seconds, and then I go, "Oh yeah, it's Donald Trump as president." So there you go. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'd rather have him president than fucking half Asian, Indian, whatever the fuck. All right, enough talking.
I do think it's interesting that that a lot of people are saying, like, you know, like Trump's thing at McDonald's and then Trump's things with you know, doing the garbage truck stuff and like, oh, that's, you know, they're just publicity stunts and blah blah blah. It's like, well, first of all, I mean, obviously, yeah, they are. That's what everything politicians do at this point are all just publicity stunts. Yeah, right. But I'm looking more at, because we're down to it now, and everyone's trying to rush out their hot takes on, you know, who should you vote for? Should you vote? If you're not someone who would normally vote, are you going to vote? If you're a libertarian, should you vote for Trump, or should you write in Ron Paul or whatever? And it's like, you know, anything that Trump promises, could he renege on it? Of course he could. Politicians do that all the time. But it's like, look at the kinds of things that they're promising. Look at the kinds of people that he's bringing into his circle. It's just a totally different class of people. You know, like Kamala Harris. Now, granted, she's not offering Dick and Liz Cheney, you know, positions in her cabinet or anything, but she's still, you know, taking their endorsements and campaigning with them and all that stuff, which is, I actually like that. This is something I want people to understand. This is such a great thing. It's so good that like the Bush Cheney neocons are like on stage representing Kamala Harris. And you know why that's such a good thing? Because all of our enemies are all on one side. Like, instead of having to worry about there being enemies amongst our ranks, they're all over there and we're all over here. So like all the people that we loathe and hate are on that side. That makes things so much clearer in my mind. I said Wednesday night on my show, I dedicated, while wearing my Willy Wonka costume, I dedicated a bit of the monologue to talk about, you know, this topic of who should you vote for? Who are libertarians going to vote for? Is Alan going to endorse a candidate? I've never endorsed a politician. And if you watch the whole video, I didn't technically endorse Donald Trump. What I said is I'm not pro Donald Trump. I'm anti Kamala Harris. There is a distinction between those things. But if there's anything you can do to convince people to not vote for Kamala Harris, that's great. And also, if you need convincing on it, is look at it this way. So first of all, you know, of course, Elon Musk is helping Donald Trump. That's not a secret. Donald Trump has said that if he wins, he wants to create a government efficiency, you know, board or bureau or whatever that's only going to be tasked with just identifying pork barrel spending and cuts and making it happen, eliminating federal workforce, just bloated spending, yada, yada, yada. And Elon Musk, which he's a businessman, that's part of what he does. I mean, look at his whole thing with Twitter, right? It's not just that he bought it because he felt like it was a vehicle that was being used for evil and he wanted to use it for good. He also went in there, what did he do? Like on day one, he starts firing everybody. And yet, after eliminating like 90% of the workforce, it actually became better. And all of a sudden they're making money. And yet Twitter didn't crash, right? Oh, look, it still works. Funny how that happens. Yeah. So we want Elon to do that to the government, and we want Trump to listen to him when he says, hey, President Trump, we can do X, Y, and Z. It's going to save us this much money. This very night, Elon Musk tweeted out he would love to have Ron Paul come work with him on that committee.
I was just going to
mention Ron Paul said, I would love to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
If that isn't all, so this side has Elon Musk and Ron Paul. This side has Dick Cheney
and Liz.
And by the way, for Republicans, remember Liz, like she did all that never Trumper shit, and then she lost her re-election in Wyoming by like 30 points. Mm-hmm. She got absolutely murdered in her re-election. So Republicans have turned their back on her for sure, and really the Cheneys overall. So let them have them.
Might as well switch to D.
If seeing Ron Paul on one side tasked with the job of nothing else other than cutting government waste, and that's it. Look, Ron Paul's very old. In all seriousness, he might serve in some sort of advisory role, but he's not going to go back to D.C. and work. He deserves to be able to retire and spend the life.
He'll probably be in like a few Zoom meetings or something.
Yeah, but he deserves some time off.
Yeah.
But that being neither here nor there, if Ron Paul's on one side and Dick Cheney's on the other, the decision could not be more clear. One of these two people is going to be president. Your protest vote will do absolutely nothing. I'm not. Look, if you want to go right in Ron Paul, just do that. As long as you're telling me you're not voting for Kamala Harris, I can buy it. That's kind of where I'm at, and I have talked to an increasing number of people that are kind of philosophically in our neck of the woods that are kind of on that train of I may not vote. Look, if you're not in a swing state, it doesn't even matter if you vote. I may not go vote, but if I am in a swing state and I am going to vote, the most important thing is you don't vote for Kamala Harris. And if you were going to quote unquote campaign, the only real campaigning you need to do is campaigning against Kamala Harris. Anything else you do beyond that, I don't really care. I don't care if you vote for Trump. I don't care if you write in Ron Paul. I don't even care if you don't vote. Just implore people to not vote for the the party of Ukraine and Taiwan and child genital mutilation and Dick Cheney. If we could just not vote for them, that'd be great. And vaccine mandates.
Yeah.
And could we not really?
So I wanted to read something from the Post Millennial. Since you mentioned Ron Paul wanting to talk to Elon Musk about possibly working with Donald Trump and all those people there. So he did an interview with podcaster David Gornosky about this. And when asked if he would consider advising Musk on wasteful spending, Paul said, well, I would. Everybody would know what I believe and there'd be no secrets, but I wouldn't want an official position, because I've sort of steered away from getting too involved in the politics of it all right now. Paul said he views his role now as one of educating the public about the dangers of unhindered government growth. I always say young people that were in high school and college when I was doing all the campaigning were a receptive audience, Paul said, noting that his audience was never composed of the Chamber of Commerce people that he used to refer to in a negative way because they are the ones that have been lobbying in Congress for more money for the cities. But he cautioned that if Musk becomes an economic advisor to Trump on cutting the size of government, he will have to act with prudence and caution. A position is easy to have and to hold, but the truth is, what if I did get in this position and all I had to do is sign a piece of paper and the Federal Reserve was eliminated, or you cut the budget by $2 trillion? Well, What the consequence would be is total chaos and probably civil war and all that, Paul said. Nonetheless, Paul said, what is required is for people to understand why current government spending is too high, and people are going to have to know why. After this thing falls apart, I think we have an opportunity. The cultural Marxists do it on purpose. The more chaos, the better. Paul said he remains a reluctant optimist after decades of political involvement, and there are a lot of people out there, a lot of young people that seem to be very receptive to what we've been talking about. Now, another thing that I want to read is another topic as to why libertarians are gravitating towards Donald Trump. So he tweeted on Halloween, I would like to wish our great Bitcoiners a happy 16th anniversary of Satoshi's white paper. We will end Kamala's war on crypto, and Bitcoin will be made in the USA. Vote Trump. Hashtag Bitcoin. Hashtag Free Ross Day One.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, there you go. Like, there's two things right there. Ron Paul on his side. Hashtag Free Ross Day One. Now, if he does become president and he doesn't do that, then what? Oh, well, he did on day 2. Okay, that's close enough. No, it has to be day 1 or I'm pissed. Right?
Well, I mean, but it really should be, though, because he can't.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
right.
Look, I would be pissed because the important thing about any president, like, because this was kind of a thought exercise back in the Ron Paul days, because a lot of people used to say, well, even if Ron Paul got the nomination, and even if Ron Paul somehow won the election, nothing good would really happen because all of Congress would be against him. He wouldn't get anything through the House. He wouldn't get anything through the Senate. His own party would hate him. They'd be attacking him all the time. He wouldn't be able to do anything. And the answer is like, okay, so first of all, if your issue is the whole government's corrupt, therefore there's no point in having a president that's not corrupt, you're an idiot. Maybe having a president that's not corrupt can at least serve as a check against the rest of D.C. that is corrupt. 2, the executive actually can do lots of things, particularly in the executive branch. 3, the president is the commander-in-chief, so you wouldn't have the foreign interventionism under a Ron Paul presidency. 4, he's like the most famous man on the planet, so you'd have Ron Paul saying Ron Paul things on national TV literally every week, all the time.
Yeah.
But finally, there are certain things that a president can do, such as pardons, such as obviously the power to veto. So any shitty things that Congress wanted to do, if they didn't have a 2/3 majority, they would never happen because a President Paul would kill them every time. And also any number of people that have been unjustly imprisoned, he would not. A President Ron Paul would not do what a lot of presidents do, which is wait to the last week of your administration and then basically hand out a goodie bag of a bunch of favors in the way of pardons and other things in exchange for kickbacks. It's what a lot of presidents have done. Ron Paul wouldn't wait to the last week of his administration to free Ross and let him rot for 4 more years. He would free him on day 1, absolutely, or at least week 1. Because there is a lot going on in the inauguration and all that crap. So yeah. I do suspect that Trump is telling the truth. I do think Trump will do it. I do. If he doesn't do it at all, if Trump tweets and says these things and then doesn't do it, then yes, libertarians, independents, you have full carte blanche to burn it down for 5 decades. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because then what would you have, right? You'd have J.D. Vance 4 years from now saying, hey, guys, remember me? Remember how we promised you stuff and then we didn't do it? I'll promise it again and totally will this time. Nope, fuck him. Make sure he loses by 20 points.
Yep.
So because we talked about this before, Trump's a very transactional guy. He's a businessman. He's saying, I offer you this, you give me that. If he gets elected, he said, if I get elected, I'll do this. It would be beneath him to lie about something like that, because it would be like, well, that's not how business is done. Yeah. If you offered a transaction and then you back out on it, you would then have no one to blame but yourself when all of your future transactions blow up in your face. It's very short-sighted to do something like that, especially on the level we're talking about. So I do genuinely think Trump means it. He said it a lot, by the way. It's not like he tweeted once. It's not like he went to the Libertarian convention and said it once. He's been saying it consistently ever since. He hasn't forgotten. It wasn't just some throwaway line in a speech that no one watched. I think he means it. So in libertarians in particular, because I know that a lot of our audience are probably libertarian or libertarian adjacent, is Ross deserves to be free. One of these, so Kamala or Trump is going to be president. Look, I hate both. Kamala's getting killed on foreign policy. Trump is winning on foreign policy, even though we know that his foreign policy will probably be pretty much just as bad. But there's lots of things about Trump I don't like. But one of them is going to be president, and one of them said to free Ross, and one of them didn't.
Mm-hmm. Has she even mentioned him at all? I don't even think so, right?
Kamala Harris doesn't know who Ross Ulbricht is.
Right. Yeah.
Joe Biden doesn't know who Ross Ulbricht is.
Yeah.
They don't know who he is. Why would they say anything? They don't know. They don't know. They don't care, and they're not transacting with you. They're not offering you Ross for your vote because they don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah. So Donald Trump had hashtag Free Ross Day 1, so it's a hashtag. It's there. So you know, and like you said, very transactional. He goes to the Libertarian National Convention, has a speech. He goes, "Hey, vote for me. If you do vote for me and I become president, I will do the things you want me to do." All right, great. You're a businessman. This is how you work. Like, that's your first and foremost. That's how you live your life. Then yeah, I mean, he sees everything in a business sense, whether it's this or even the wars. Even he looks at it as like, well, you should be paying money or whatever. Over in Europe, they're not paying any money to have us help them with their security. Why should we even help them with that? Now, if they pay us some money, hey, we can talk. So yeah, everything's like you said, transactional, and but so on that, so Kamala Harris right now, she's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay,
and she has guest speakers, Cardi B. Yeah, that'll get some people out there. Keegan Michael Key, remember that guy from Key and Peele? Featuring performances by Flowski or Flo Millie, whoever the fuck that is. Glorilla, I don't know.
Who is this appealing to?
An MC Light. These are 3 black women, and Cardi B, but she's not performing. Of all the names, you don't have Cardi B performing. Shouldn't she be the one performing? She's the biggest name of all of them that I just mentioned. Anyway,
they did that with Beyonce. They had Beyonce as a guest at a rally, and everyone thought it was going to be a free Beyonce concert, but it wasn't a performance. And then everybody got pissed.
And that was Jon Stewart's joke about when the whole Tony Hinchcliffe shit went down. He's like, well, of course, it's like if you have a roast comic go to speak at some rally and he does no roast jokes, that's like having Beyonce go to she just goes there and talks. Jennifer Lopez was recently at a rally for Kamala Harris. What did she do? Talking out of her ass, out of her taco ass, whatever.
That's the funny thing though about, like, that's what I was saying is, like, all those people you just listed after Cardi B, all those random people I've never heard of before in my life, is who is that supposed to appeal to, and do those people vote? I strongly believe that the people that appeal to don't know anything about the election and probably won't even vote. That's my strong. So I mean, older people tend to vote way more than younger people. No matter what you say about getting out the young vote amongst the young people are never a serious voting bloc. They've never have been, and they never will be. The early 20-somethings who are like in college or dropped out and they're working at a Burger King, who probably know who some of the people on that list are. You know what they don't do? Vote. They don't read newspapers. They don't get registered, and they don't go to the polling station on Tuesday.
Yep. But Kamala Harris won the Nickelodeon vote.
Okay.
So the young people really do vote. They voted for Kamala Harris to become president.
But that's not voting.
but Nickelodeon, the poll Nickelodeon, I don't know.
Okay, oh, so you said a poll. So that was a poll.
I don't know. Yeah,
That wasn't a
well,
vote.
you know, who would you want to be as president? Kamala Harris, obviously, because we're Nickelodeon. Nothing sketchy about that. We've done nothing wrong over here at Nickelodeon. Anyway,
I bet they wouldn't have put SpongeBob on the poll because they know he would have won.
could you imagine if he was running for president for real?
I don't know. I've never actually watched the show in my life.
Huh.
I've never seen an episode of SpongeBob in my life.
Good for you.
Yeah. People are shocked when I tell them that. I'm like, I mean, I've seen the memes.
Yeah. Like, you know of the show, but you just never seen it.
Yeah. I know who SpongeBob is. I've never seen the show once in my life.
How do you feel about that? You feel good?
I feel great. I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Hey, you know.
And you know what? On Tuesday, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to work on Tuesday. It's not a holiday.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on Tuesday, and then I'm coming home and working on the show for Wednesday night. I will be on a program Tuesday night. There are some people I know that are doing a like an election mega event thing.
Ooh.
And I'm one of their guests to come on. And honestly, I don't even know what I'm coming on for. They did one 4 years ago, and they're like, "Hey, we're doing another one of these, and we were putting together our like lineup of guests throughout the evening. Would you like to do that?" And I was like, "Sure. What are we going to talk about?" Like, "Oh, the election." I was like, "Okay, but like, what are you bringing me on for?" And it was just say funny stuff. I was like, "Okay,
Oh, come on, just give us your extra expertise."
So that's what I'm doing Tuesday night. So Tuesday, I'm going to work. Tuesday night, there's going to be an election coverage event, and apparently I'm just the comedy fucking relief. I'm going to go on there, and I don't know. I'm going to say a bunch of like racist stuff, and they're going to cut my mic. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, they didn't give you anything else, so.
Look, if Trump is going to win, then obviously that means we all get to say whatever we want to say.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah, America has voted for racism and fascism. Isn't that the thing, though? Is that, look, America is either going to vote for fascism or communism, because that in their cartoon world, that's what they think. In the right-wing cartoon world, they think that if Kamala wins, then America is communist. And in the cartoon world, the left wing thinks that if Trump wins, America is Nazi Germany. And that's it. So that is what you're voting for. Choose America.
So speaking of that, as we wind down here, I wanted to show you this. I wanted to show it to you earlier, but we just got so into the conversation that I was just like, we'll see.
I'm just pumped because Boise State's winning 49-10.
Oh, how much money did you put on that? $50?
No, I didn't bet on it. It was a really huge. They were like 34-point favorites or something. I don't bet on lines that big.
What the fuck? Might as well just stay away from that.
So they're actually only covering the spread right now by one score. If the other team scores in the fourth, they actually would lose.
It's over.
Lose.
Yeah,
they'd lose in Vegas. They wouldn't lose, but you know.
Okay, so what I'm going to show you is who actually made this video? Let me see. Seed the Vote? I think that's who made this. Yeah, it does sound gay. So I'm going to guess the title of it is like A Warning from the Future. So this is what the future would look like if the preferred candidate does not win. And you could probably guess who the preferred candidate is.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so set the stage there.
A warning from the future.
We weren't always like this. We had a beautiful life. The best parties. The most beautiful friends.
Does look like a
We
pretty
thought it was
party.
just another election. So a lot of us didn't vote. Why
It looks like
bother?
degenerate filth to
Everyone
me.
knew the system was rigged.
They got what they deserved.
Many of us even voted for them. I know it sounds crazy now, but we didn't like Democrats back then. We were angry about the vaccine mandates and how they handled the war in Gaza. and the way they wanted to censor free speech on the internet.
They want unquestioned obedience.
So what did we end up doing? We voted for the guys who openly said they wanted to imprison dissenters and use the military against their political opponents.
False. They never said that. But continue.
So yeah, you were wrong on that. Big time.
Big time.
When Trump got sick and died, Vance was 39 years old when he became president. 30 years later, he's still president today. And with the Supreme Court on his side, they gave him dictatorial powers.
Let's go.
They took
They don't
away
give
women's
anything.
reproductive rights, outlawed contraception, and removed the minimum wage. Then we had repression
If
of
they
dissent,
removed the minimum wage, you'd all be
AI
making more.
surveillance of everything we did or said on a level we couldn't imagine. The government
You guys
under Vance,
established all the
Peter
AI
Thiel, and Elon
surveillance.
Musk set up concentration camps for illegal immigrants.
Elon
illegal
Musk
immigrants,
set up.
then
He's
even
an
homeless
immigrant.
people. They finally admitted climate change was real, but it
Finally.
was too late. Florida sank into the Gulf, and the West burned, and cities across the country became uninsurable, then uninhabitable. Musk and Thiel poured all of our resources into artificial intelligence so they and their friends could become immortal. I don't know what happened to them, but I know what happened to us.
Oh yeah.
Like that has to be like surely that's satire, right? Like they don't actually mean any of that because it's just such nonsense.
I have no fucking clue, but
That
it's good
that has to
production.
be satire. It has to be a troll. There's
Wouldn't
no
that be
way
funny if
that's
it
real.
was? Yeah, it's good stuff though.
It has to be a troll because the first third of it was them calling out the Democrats for the awful things they are doing, and they're totally right. And if the point of the video is because the first half of the video was basically saying the Democrats did all these terrible things, and so we didn't support them. And it blew up in our faces. It's like, so are you suggesting that you should always support the Democrats no matter how much they put their boots on your neck? That's the moral of the story? What a fucking retard.
You're gonna get Emperor Vance. You want JD Vance to be president for 40 years? Come on.
I mean, no, so, and of course that's also it's everything they say and do is projection. When you understand that, everything becomes so clear. Like, oh, if Trump wins, then he's going to use the power of government to go after his political opponents. Projection, they do that now more than ever before, more than anyone ever has, and they do it to Trump and his supporters now more than it has ever been done. Oh yeah, Trump's gonna start a riot. He won't cede power. He already did. He lost an election and left. Like, what are you talking about?
But he didn't immediately leave. He didn't go to the inauguration.
But he did immediately leave. When he was no longer president, he wasn't there anymore.
January 6th, Alan. January 6th.
Okay, literally that's the answer. Is on January 6th he left office. That's what happened. And then, JD Vance is going to become the forever emperor. No, the Obama administration is still running the country this very day. They only had 4 years off in between their 8 years and like the next 4 after that. They have been in power 12 of the last 16 years, but they'll say, but if you don't let us stay in power for the next 30 years, then they will. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You remember that meme where they had the Trump was like Trump 24, 28, 32, 30. It was just like on and on and on. All this Trump names. Every single Trump's gonna become president.
Yeah.
That's basically what that is. So, but Obama, if he is leading everything that's going on right now, he can just take a break for 4 years, and then after that, Michelle Obama will be inserted. So there you go, back in power.
By the way, that's also a huge slap in the face to the military, to all the armed service members, because the video is insinuating that if Trump wins and then dies and Emperor Vance takes over, then the military will just do that. That they'll just be like, well, I guess Vance is emperor now. Let's go burn down the cities and crack some skulls. They would just do that. And so if Trump winning means they'll just do that, then you really should just disband the military today, because they're a fucking lion. They're a keg. They're ready to go off, right?
They're over in the Ukraine and Taiwan and Middle East. There's none of that here in America. Our military.
Yeah, if Trump wins, he's going to bring the troops home so he can kill liberals.
I mean,
I know. Talk about a win-win, right? Jesus. I already said don't vote for Kamala. Now I am just straight up saying vote for Trump. Jesus.
Wow. Wow. Well, on that note, where can they find It's Too Late with Alan Mosley?
Right there. You go to Twitter, X, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble. I feel like I'm forgetting one. I don't know. Probably
TikTok.
It's
Snapchat.
I think I have a TikTok. I think I do have a TikTok. I quit posting there because they shadow banned me. I was actually taken off on TikTok for 2 weeks, and then they killed it because I said anti-COVID things. Anyway, at Alan Mosley TV. Also, we're trying desperately to get 100 new monthly supporters by September 1st of 2025. So you just go to any one of our episodes, look in the show notes, click the link, put in your credit card information, hit enter, and you're going to heaven.
And on Tuesday, if they want to stay up at night because they really want to know what the election results are before they go to bed.
Man, I got such a crazy I can't really afford to take any time off from work because I need to, earn a living.
Yeah.
Because, podcasting doesn't pay the bills. But but I've got the super late night on Tuesday, including making an appearance on some kind of a show. And then I have a really awesome guest coming on Wednesday to talk about the fallout, the day, because our next episode of It's Too Late is Wednesday night. So one day removed from the election is next week's episode of It's Too Late. And we have an awesome guest to come on to talk about the election fallout and what it means going forward. Of course, we're not pre-planning it, so we don't know who's going to win. Hopefully we know who's won by then, in which we have already discussed that, by the way. I'm not going to give away the guest, but we have already discussed, how are we going to handle it if Wednesday afternoon gets here and we still don't know who won the election? Because the whole point of the episode is to talk about who won the election.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see what happens here in a few days. But I think I speak for most everyone when I say I'm just ready for it to all end. Either the election or this, one or the other.
Yeah.
Just waiting for it to all end.
Yep. And don't forget to get some Fox and Sons coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. It's over here somewhere. But yeah. Steve knows. No, Steve's doing gift cards this year. So if you have a coffee drinker that you're getting a gift for, but you don't know, because there's so many different blends and flavors. This is all rocket science to me. So if you don't know what they want to drink, you just get them a Fox and Sons coffee gift card, and then they can pick whatever flavor they want.
Was it
foxandsons.com? Promo code ITL.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and listening. Hopefully your preferred candidate wins the election. Not Kamala Harris, though. That's the one. I'll say her.
Your preferred candidate who's not Kamala Harris. Yeah. You vote to your heart's content. If you're voting for Kamala Harris, just get out of my face.
And Chase Oliver. Don't vote for him either. I don't even care.
Well, you know what? I feel like most people who are voting for Chase are still siphoning votes away from Kamala. Let's be real.
Well,
Let's be real. If you're a it's the same thing as Jill Stein. If you're a Jill Stein voter, you weren't going to vote for Trump, and you probably really hate Kamala and the Dems, so that's fine. Whatever. More power to you.
Good point.
If you're voting for Chase Oliver, dude, you weren't going to vote for any Republican. You probably wouldn't have even voted for Ron Paul. If you're a Chase Oliver voter, you probably hate Ron Paul. So that's fine. We'll put Ron Paul and Elon Musk over here.
Yeah.
You can go over there with Chase Oliver and Dick Cheney. You go over there, and that's good. We've got it all. We got it all figured out. So we're good.
The reason thing that we mentioned last week, perfect example.
Yeah, right. They're not voting for Trump, so I'm perfectly content if those people do vote for like Chase instead of voting for Kamala. Then whatever, that's fine. It's fine. Just don't vote for Kamala.
All right, bye.